conference will now be recorded.
Okay, who's talking? Everyone. Active cameras. Back to webcam. Take up. You don't want your camera on.
Oh, just
This conference will now be recorded.
how we responded to it. Last week. We'll talk about. Are we still waiting or are we? I don't know. We started, we gotta ask the boss. Priscilla Jackson? Oh. Yeah, we do have one. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
You want to also, you might want to also go ahead and recognize any. Obviously, commissioners that participated.
CEO, right?
See, I knew I liked you for some reason. So it's recording. I don't know.
Yeah, let me be clear.
It is now.
Ms. Jackson, we're ready.
Good.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year to those of you that I have not personally seen. It's good to be back with you all, with our staff, our Board of Commissioners, and our entire team. Greetings to those that are joining us online, our commissioners. Once we get to that part of the agenda, we will vote you in so that you can take part in this evening's meeting. So it is January the 21st to 2026, and we call this meeting to order. Mr. Carter, do we have a quorum, sir?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do, Mr. Chair.
All right. All right.
And actually, like the board now, I just happened to notice, actually based on our new rules that are to be applied January 1st of 2026, Mr. Johnson automatically is deemed to be in person at the meeting based on the proper letter that was submitted to the board last month. I do happen to see Mrs. Brody. Are there any other commissioners that I'm not aware of that are virtual?
I think I see Commissioner Hardiman, Commissioner Elliott.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner Elliott, I'm here.
All right. Commissioner Hardiman? Okay. All right. Is Ms. McCray also virtual? I guess not. Okay. All right. Well, board, I'd like us to, first of all, Ms. Brody?
Yes.
Okay. Can you provide us with the reason why you're not at the meeting today?
It's personal reason.
Okay. All right. Mr. Elliott? Mr. Elliott?
I'm absent because of work, and I'm here in the city of Richmond.
Okay. And Mr. Hardiman?
Personal reasons, and I'm in Prince George County.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I ask that the board, we take a vote. May I have a motion to approve the admission of Ms. Brody, Mr. Elliott, and Mr. Hardiman to participate in tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Yeah, we have the motion from Mr. Parker, and we have the second from Mr. Lewis. All right. By roll call, I'd like approval. Mr. Jackson?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Lewis? Ms. Pitry?
Hi.
Okay, the ayes have it. Ms. Brody, Mr. Elliott, and Mr. Hardiman are now participants in tonight's meeting. Thank you. All right. Now we move forward with the minutes. May I have a motion for approval for the November 19, 2025 minutes?
I make a motion
Okay, from Ms. Pitchford. We have a second. Second from Mr. Lewis. All right. Roll call. Mr. Jackson,
Aye.
Mr. Parker,
Aye.
Ms. Brody,
Aye.
Mr. Elliott,
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Lewis, Ms. Pitchford, excuse me.
Aye.
All right. The ayes have it. Now, I'd like a motion for approval for the December 16 special meeting. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Okay. So move from Mr. Parker. You have a second?
Second.
Okay, second from Ms. Brody. All right. All right. Roll call for approval. Mr. Jackson,
Aye.
Mr. Parker,
Aye.
Ms. Brody,
Aye.
Mr. Elliott,
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Lewis, Ms. Pitchford.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. All the minutes are approved. Mr. Chair, we're moving into the citizens' comment period.
Ms. Jackson, I understand we have 3 citizens who have signed up to speak this evening. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. We welcome anyone from the public to sign up and speak, and we're grateful to have citizens in person this evening. I want to point your attention to, we have a newly added timer that is right beside the podium there. Each person has 3 minutes to speak, and we do ask that in your comments, that you are respectful and treat anyone who's in the room or not in the room the same as you would have yourself treated. With that being the case, I believe our first person to speak is Ms. Cora Hayes. Ms. Hayes.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
I thank you, Mr. Nesmith, and the Board of Commissioners and employees of RRHA to allow me this opportunity to speak before you this afternoon. I have here with me a Tanya Jackson. Miss Jackson is Miss Teresa Hobson's, okay, I'm sorry. Tanya Jackson is Mrs. Teresa Hobson's granddaughter. I'll give you a little background on Miss Teresa Hobson. Miss Teresa Hobson was the first public housing community resident to move into Wickham Court in 1968, where she remained a resident until she passed in December of 2025. We are here before you this afternoon to ask that the unit that she resided in be memorialized in her name, given the place for children to come, residents to come, to socialize, play games. Miss Jackson has a lot of plans for it, clothes, closet, food, and all of that. Miss Teresa Hobson, along with Alma Barlow, I don't know how many of you all know Alma Barlow. Most of the people here today are new, with the exception of one person. Hi, Angela. Great to see you again. Anyway, they formed Richmond Tenant Organization. And from there, Miss Teresa Hobson was very um, focused in her community. She went to Alabama when they had the walk with Dr. Martin Luther King. She always was with RTO when they went to Washington, D.C. and marched on Washington, D.C. and met with HUD on several occasions. I got to meet Miss Hobson when I was—
Ms. Hayes, you have 1 minute.
Okay, I got to meet Miss Hobson when I was a resident of Fairfield Court. Before I leave, my second point is I would like for RHA to get into making sure that each of your public housing communities, tenant councils have a full slate of officers. I'm getting too many calls. I'm going to turn this over to you.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Jackson.
I want to thank the CEO, Mr. Natsmith, for taking the time out to come and be with us on the day of my grandma's service. We really appreciate him. And also, the day of her passing of December the 19th, her oven went out. Councilman Ellen Robertson came to our house and she spoke with us. And she called Mr. Natsmith, I guess personally.
Ms. Jackson, your time's up. Thank you.
Can you pass this out to them so they can see?
Ms. Hayes and Ms. Jackson, we sincerely thank you. We do have a 3-minute time limit. I believe our CEO wants to make a comment, but thank you for sharing with us. And not 1968, but 1958. Yes, ma'am. We want to give it just due.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
So it was truly, I think, the Lord. I was actually with my son, just waking up, and I got the call, and I told my son, I gotta leave, son, I'm sorry. There's something more pressing, although he came from law school to visit me. I shouldn't say this, but I didn't even take a shower. I just threw my suit and tie on. And I just immediately, I said, there was a higher duty, son. And I was honored to be there at that funeral. I will be coming back to the board and having a discussion about how we're going to honor your grandma. I've talked with Councilman Robinson about it and President Nubo. So stay tuned. But thank you for being here.
Nice comments from our CEO. And I was on the phone with him when he jumped up and said, I gotta go. And I said, not gonna shower. He said, no, I gotta do this. And so it meant a lot. And your presence here and sharing your testimony, that means a lot as well. Thank you. Next, we have Mari, are you with us this evening? Amari?
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
I didn't hear.
Yes, sir. Time is ticking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi, this is Omari El Gaddafi. I'm a senior organizer in the Housing and Consumer Justice Program at Legal Aid Justice Center. I wanted to echo Ms. Hayes's comments. My first public housing organizing effort was involved Ms. Hobson over in Wickham Court. So, I don't have a lot of time to go into all of that, but I echo her comments. She was a great woman. I'm once again speaking in support of Gilpin Informed residents and their Better Deal for Gilpin campaign, which is centered around increasing public accountability and resident inclusion at RRHA. I am a native Richmonder. I was doing public housing advocacy and tenant organizing for 4 years before I was paid to do it. So I was just, living with my son in low income housing, substandard conditions, and I was able to organize residents to get some things done there. And I'm giving you that context because tonight I want to express my sincere appreciation to all the RRHA staff who were responsible for getting the board and committee meetings uploaded to the website and to YouTube. The timeliness of the agendas posting has really improved recently. And I really feel that tenants and Gilpin Informed residents, the staff, and this board have made history. This is the first time in the history of the city of Richmond that RRHA board meeting recordings will be posted on the internet. And I hope that everyone, recognizes that achievement and is being acknowledged at the Housing Authority. With Gilpin Informed residents also had asked that the meeting materials be posted as well. That hasn't happened yet, and hopefully we can get an update on that tonight. To illustrate,
Yeah, 1 minute.
To illustrate the need, yesterday there was a contract introduced at the Administration and Finance Committee meeting for the TAG associates. I missed the meeting. I wasn't able to talk to anyone who had attended the meeting, so it's not really known if that contract was recommended to the full board tonight, but I assume it was because it's on the agenda. But when contracts for $500,000 of public money are presented like that one, There should be ample notice and ample time for the public to know what's going on, ample time for, more than 24 hours notice for the board to even digest the material. I know that it's a contract extension, but the scope of work has changed drastically from what it once was. It now includes Fay Towers and activities related to Gilpin Court redevelopment. So I just think that,
Mr. Gaddafi, your time's up.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Amari, I want to thank you for your comments. I want to thank you for recognizing our efforts, the efforts of our staff. We're constantly making improvements, and we're just getting started. But definitely thank you for your comments tonight. Next, our last speaker, we have Miss Sylvia Davis. Ms. Davis, are you present this evening? Again, Miss Sylvia Davis, are you present this evening for your opportunity to speak? Last call. Miss Davis, Miss Sylvia Davis, are you present to speak on? Okay, I do not believe Miss Davis is present. With that being the case, we'll move on. Next on our agenda, are chair updates. As I opened the meeting, I apologize. We're doing this in real time, right? I'm excited. I'm excited because our capacity continues to expand. Our staff has responded. Our CEO continues to motivate his team. Wow. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes aside from these meetings that we have. I've been firsthand in the midst of them. I am elated that we are all responding to the call. There's an effort much bigger than any person, any single person, or this collective unit in the room. And I encourage you to continue to rise to the occasion. It's a historical time, and I cannot echo this anymore. This is the time for us to continue doing what we do, continue to step up, and your work, your efforts are greatly appreciated, and we are observing. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we will have our CEO and agency updates.
Thank you, Chair Jackson. And Happy New Year to everyone. It is a new year and a year that our Lord has given us to do things that, as Chair Jackson said, that are far larger than our individual selves. And this year we have an ambitious agenda. We're going to take some time in a moment to reflect on the things that we accomplished, staff accomplished in 2020. Look, just having celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday, and I've always reflected on his speech and the things he did. And one of the things he always said, and I think it reflects in what the majority of this board believes, and that there's a sense of, as Martin Luther King said, of purpose of unity and the urgency of now. Because we have a lot to do. As Commissioner Pitchford said at our last meeting, when we come together, we ought to be united. We, as CEO, I've had the pleasure of having the majority of the board support for 3 years now. I don't take that lightly at all. And I want to thank the board for its constructive criticism and trying to make me better. Because I think that's how, as an athlete, the only way I got better. Wasn't as talented as most folks. And I want to, as we go forward for 2026, I look forward for that constructive criticism from the board as we do so in a respectful way. We will not hang our hats and say, Well, we want to criticize one another. Well, we can do that. We can express our First Amendment rights. But if someone doesn't want to be on the team, you know what we used to say when I played basketball? Go to another team voluntarily, right? We have unity of purpose. And that's what we need. If we are going to get better, like we did when I played athletics, like when I was in private sector, when I was in government, we work together. We do constructive criticism together. I get constructive criticism, Mr. Chair, from my staff each and every day. And I get beat up the most from my executive assistant, Priscilla Jackson, who I call my boss. And we do so, though, in a respectful way. And that's the team, that's the language of champions, and that's how championship teams win. Not by saying, oh, I'm going to go talk to the other team and tell them what play you're running. I'm going to talk to a reporter and say, you ain't got that many injured on your list. You ain't running the plays right. I hear you're giving some plays to other folks. I'm excited about 2024 and how we're going to come together as a team. Part of that, I'm reporting that we have started our listening tour. I want to thank our team for our town hall meetings, because we said we can't think we're so smart. Right? We must listen to our staff. We do community outreach, Mr. Chair, but we have launched town hall meetings to say, you know what, let's have an honest conversation with our staff. And we've started them. We've been in the amps, and we said it's a no judgment zone. And our staff, we've told them no retaliation. Tell us honestly how we need to improve. And I think I want to compliment our staff. We stood there and we took it. But that constructive criticism, again, is the only way to improve. And I want to thank the staff, executive team who stood there and listened. And I want to thank our staff for being honest and giving constructive criticism as a team, because that's the only way we're going to get better. The next item on the under my updates is I want to have Charles Williams talk about how our maintenance team, and I'm always working on Saturday and Sunday because I'm wedded to RHA. It's not a job, and I again appreciate this is an assignment that God has given me, Chairman. And so I work Saturday and Sunday because it's that important to the residents. And I'm gonna have Charles Williams gets up, and what happens is when we get it right in terms of responding to residents' requests, say it's 75% of the time, we won't get people to come up. But if we get it wrong, let's say 25% of the time to get it right, well, who comes to the meetings, the 25%. It's always the case that the loud minority gets the attention. But if only we can organize that silent majority of 75 that say, I don't have time to come to the meetings, but thank you for getting it right. But we do get it wrong. But tell them one instance where I want to thank Commissioner Brody. She called me, and she's always got her eyes on the prize. That's what I love about Commissioner Brody. She said, Mr. Nesmith, I see something. I said, thank you. I called my team. My team said, we are already in action, Mr. Nesmith. Share how our team went into action, Charles, and tell them what the specific incident was.
Good afternoon. Does everyone have a picture of this water main burst? Okay, perfect. So last Thursday, we had a town hall meeting, and as our CEO mentioned, he got a call from one of our commissioners that utilities were out, the water was out at Fairfield Court. And one of our teams, our HVAC team, they immediately jumped into action. And if you're familiar with a water main break, it is a very extensive break. At times you'll look throughout the city of Richmond, and it can take days to kind of get one of those completed. So our team went over to Fairfield Court. There were about 75 residents that were affected from this water main break. It was beyond the scope of work of our team, so we had to get a contractor to come in and help us make this repair. Once we looked at the repair, it was very intense. If you look at this photograph, this is about a 6-foot hole throughout the property. And can you imagine if you have a 6-foot hole where the water has broken, you have a serious liability issue because you got the ice and everything that's coming out of that hole. Well, the team was able to get the city of Richmond. They came in, they weren't able to find the water cutoff valve to cut it off, but our team was able to do that. We took plumbers near me, they made the repair. And if I'm correct, Angela, by 3:30, those 75 residents had water in their particular units.
Amen.
Well, thank you for that.
Any questions on that?
I don't have a question. I just want to, it's always good to hear good news, you know, to see how we're able to respond and treat our residents just like they're our mothers or we would want to be treated ourselves. So thank you. Anyone else have any comments or questions?
Mr. Chair, the next item on the agenda, and I'm proud on this one, and I know that Ralph Stuckey is going to talk about it. It is what we is at the heart of what we do. That is self-sufficiency. What we do, again, one of those quiet stories that we do every day, that Ralph Stuckey and his team do every day. One of the things, Mr. Chair, you said to me, Nesmith, we cannot wait for traditional and the mainstream media to tell our story. We're going to work with Angela Fountain, and her team is marvelous. She has done great in the last 3 years. I'm not sure if I got here, but she did great in the last 3 years in terms of telling our story, right? About the impact we've had on the African-American community here in the city of Richmond, changing our story around what we've done in terms of our operations, et cetera. But you've given us a higher task, and that is to get out there, and I'm going to be talking with most of the media, the editorial boards, to say, here are some good stories. We want to hear all the good things we're doing. And Ralph Stuckey is going to talk about one of those good stories around self-sufficiency. Ralph.
Thank you. So, excuse me, our family self-sufficient program is designed to help our families achieve economic independence through personalized support like job training, education, and financial coaching. And so what's really great about the program is it allows the resident to actually develop an escrow account. And so actually what happens is they come to us and it's a 5-year program that's designed to help them set goals with intensive case management along with a lot of supportive services. And so an example would be if a resident comes to us making $100 or their rent is paying $100 a month and they get a job and their rent increased to $300 a month. So a portion of that money is escrowed for them as they continue through the program to reach their goals. And so we just recently had a graduation. A young lady had done extremely well, and there were others, but Mr. Nesmith, she was our keynote speaker. And so she had been in the program, and so she was able to receive full-time employment during that process. She also completed and attained her CDL permit. She was also able to establish a savings account. And also she attended financial literacy classes and she obtained a home buyer's education certificate. And she's receiving a substantial escrow amount of money for her 5 years in the program. And so one of her long-term goals is as we continue to work with her, even though she graduated from the program, we will continue to work with her for an additional year that she wants to she's pursuing home ownership. And so that's really exciting. And so, but just an idea of currently we have close to 100 people in the program. So our goal is to put 125 to 150 people into the program. And so, because we just received an additional grant to have an additional FSS coordinator. And so we're really excited about the program, the number of people who've graduated from the program over the last 3 years since Mr. Nesmith has been here. Note the program has been in existence for how long, Sid? Infinity and beyond. But just in Mr. Nesmith's tenure, we've been able to have 7 FSS graduates. They've escrowed close to $100,000 that they received. We've extended our program partners. We provide additional workshops quarterly and monthly for our residents, like budgeting like a boss, a lot of financial literacy and town hall meetings. And so we just actually had a young lady a few years ago. I think the first year Mr. Nesmith was here, he just worked magic. And this young lady, she actually bought a house in New Kent, New Kent County. After 1 year, see how powerful Mr. Nesmith is. 1 year of a 5-year program. so, so we were really excited about the program, and we were really excited about actually enrolling more and more people into the program to provide this opportunity. So thank you.
You know, if I may, Ralph, I love as you come forward and you always bring stories of hope. You know, and you're always doing good. You're an all-star. I'm remembered the saying that my grandmother and my mother would say, and I found myself saying sometimes, my good days far outweigh my bad days. And I believe that that is a sentiment here at Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority. While we have some bad days, just like any organization or any company, but our good days far outweigh our bad, and the best is yet to come. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a correction for the record. It's not really under my leadership this has happened. I'm gonna be very serious. It's under Ralph Stuckey's leadership. I'm merely a coach, right? And what I do is I get the players motivated and go out and get the win. They're on the field winning the game. I'm just a coach. So I appreciate what Ralph said, but Ralph, it's your leadership. I'm the coach. You're putting points on the board. I'm not on the field. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's obviously an excellent program, and hopefully it can be expanded. But I do have a request, a follow-up, and I think it's just as positive. A number of months ago, NACA was here, and there was a number of RRHA residents that participated. Did we ever get a final number of how many of the residents qualified?
So great question. No, we did not. And the reason was for this is that they were there for the 3-day conference. I was there every single day with staff. And every time someone would get approved, they would go bing, 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 there's a bell. And I'm going to tell you, I saw many public housing, RHA public housing and voucher holders, bing, boom, they came running up to me and came running up to Corey, came running up to other staff who were there. I followed up with Bruce Marks and I said, Bruce, I need to go back to my board so that we can be able to get data. I need metrics. And he said, Steve, because what they were supposed to do was when they went into the system, they were supposed to have been tagged because they had a wristband that said, I'm a RHA voucher holder, public housing. And it's been tagged in the system. And I've since talked with them many times. He said, we didn't do a thorough job. And so we cannot report those metrics back to you, but rest assured, public housing residents and voucher holders did get not only approved, they got in the homes, but we're going to re-engage with them, and you'll hear later on this year about our new home ownership program. But we're going to do it in a way this time, not just with NACA. We're going to include NACA, but a bunch of our other partners. But it's all going to be about tracing, tracking, tracing, and monitoring. The next item, sir, on the agenda is the Board of Commissioners CEO and the team, the staff, 2025 goals and objectives and accomplishments. I just want to take a time out. I know I come before the board, and the board that will do my evaluation. And as usual, you guys will be tough on me, and I look forward to that. I'll have my Kevlar suit on that day. But you all are very fair, and I love the way you push me, the board. But I just want to take a time and say, as I said before, the document that I submitted to the board and said, this is what we accomplished in 2025, I just really, Mr. Chair, I just want to thank the staff, because in putting that report together, as I did, not only talked about Ralph, so many people, we've got folks in our team that work weekends, that work, coming and leaving out of here 8 and 9 at night. And we don't give them bonuses. We don't give them overtime. They do it because they believe in the mission. And the only way we were able to accomplish the majority of the 2025 Board of Commissioners objectives and goals was because of the staff. It had nothing to do with me. I'm the coach. And I just have to just thank the staff. They're here late at night. Sometime I came back, I was like, I had to pull people out of here. It's like, no, you got to go home. I can do this, but you got to go. And I'm just taking this moment to say thank you to the staff. And I don't mean the senior executive team. I mean the staff and the maintenance folks that do all they do. As is an expression that is said some time in the Bible. And I say it, I'm nothing without you, God. What I want all the staff here to know, I'm looking at you all, I'm nothing without each of you. And I look forward to what we're going to do in 2026. But I just want to take this public moment and say, I mean, nothing without each of you. And if I don't say it enough, thank you again. The next item, I won't get teared about that. The next item, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the update on the work order quality control. It will be given by Corey Franklin as an additional item as well.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So one thing I just want to say is that we do have a lot of work ahead of us in regards to operation when it comes to work orders. However, one thing I want to do is just provide an update on, just some comments in regards to work orders and how staff handle that work order. And one of the reasons why it is important to bring that up, because we just want to ensure RHA's credibility is intact, just increase staff morale, and just want to just provide transparency when it comes in regards to the perception of our frontline staff. So there was a claim that maybe there are some individuals or some residents made that had gone without heat. So what we have provided in a memorialized document with the supporting work orders as supporting documentation of when work orders were put in and then when work orders were completed. So what I do want to provide is that on January 12th, 2026, a work order was called in regards to no heat at 8:13 a.m. We was able to look into our system of record, which is Yardi, that shows that we came out and completed that work order same day by 3:48 p.m. 2 days later, on January 14th, we got another call regarding no heat at 10:43 a.m. And then we was able to complete that work order same day at 1:16 p.m. But I just definitely want to reiterate, it's not something that I'm trying to say to point a finger back, but I just want to say that we take our work very seriously, and we wanted to provide just an update just to show that we are putting measures in place to ensure that we meet the expectation that the board has from us, from the CEO has from us, but more importantly, that the residents have from us in the form of service agreements. Taking it another step further, what we are going to be doing starting February 1st is we're going to be implementing a quality control inspection process. And what that means is that we're going to audit 10% of our completed work orders, because I think what we want to ensure is that we're just not closing out work orders, but we have a process in place that we are having checks and balances. So 10% of our work orders will be completed work orders will be audited. We're not only are we just asking, did the work order get done? But what I hear that board is echoing is that how is the customer service? Were they a professional? Did they clean up after themselves? How did they leave the work? And we're taking those metrics and being able to address our business to ensure that we're meeting the expectation that the CEO has set from us, but more importantly, that what the board has set for us as well. So that process is to come, and that the CEO will get a monthly report showing this is what the trend analysis is saying. And this is something that's going to accompany some of the surveys that we did to improve our overall operational efficiencies that we provide to our residents. If I may just have the privilege to bring up something that I heard in the committee meeting the other day, Commissioner Parker, you had a very keen interest of how are we preparing our staff to address the operational needs of RRHA and the result of our infrastructure. One of the things that you brought up is how are we expending more dollars on hiring contractors to handle HVAC and plumbing needs, or are we equipping our staff what the skills necessary to do so. So with the approval of the CEO, Jessica did mention it a little bit, saying that we're working together, but I printed out our flyer with a sticky showing when the classes will be held. So our staff had the opportunity to take these certification programs starting February 17th for HVAC, February 25th for the electrical, and March 23rd for plumbing. This is an opportunity where we're leveraging capital funds management improvement dollars to be able to prepare our staff to handle the needs of RHA. We allowed this for all RHA employees, the ability to sign up for it. But I just wanted to say that RHA is being forward thinking. I know you brought this up last week, but I wanted this to show the proof is in the pudding that we take the goals and objectives of the board very seriously. And just want to let you know that we got our thumb on the pulse, but also moving the agency forward. So I'm bringing this to you now, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. I think that's, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely. I
Oh,
was expecting
yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you taking the customer service as seriously as you are. And that's what the people have us here for. You know, we're not here as a show or as a wear a hat or wear a dress or wherever. We're here to get the job done. And it looks like you're doing a wonderful job of it. I appreciate that. Can you tell me, just back up just a little bit, on the 12th of January and on the 14th of January with the heat issues, what were those problems and how were they resolved?
So we did get a call that the heat was not working. So we did send our HVAC team that were addressing those issues. What I do have in front of me is, if I may, because I just want to keep the confidentiality of our residents, can I provide you the documentation that it's the supporting documents to this document that shows you what the issues are and what we did to rectify those situations.
It's just concerning to know what you do. Is it something simple, or is it something a wire was broke, or you had to replace a fuse or something of that nature? I was just a little concerned with that. And I'll take your information whenever you're ready. That'll be fine. Thank you so much for this, and this is exciting information here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, can I just make a comment? You know, one of the goals, objectives that our CEO has stated, I think is very first, customer service, improve customer service. And for the entire time I've been on the board, I've been trying to figure out, how do you really measure that? How do you really wrap your hands around it? And this is how you do it. Yeah, this is measurable. It's concrete.
Yeah.
And you get immediately response. So I apologize, but as I mentioned earlier, that I had to leave at 30.
Yeah, I had a comment concerning the heat. I was told that it seems like when they come in, they do have the heat on, and about 2 more days, it goes down because the next door neighbor doesn't report the heat. So the heat goes back out again. It's like we got to call every other day for the heat. Is there a policy about that could be modified, that when one person call, that they check that unit? So, you know, because it's, to me, it's like people have to call like every 2 days for heat. And we want to think about a policy that, because I can't tell y'all how to do it or whatever, because I don't want to cross the line. But I know if we had some kind of policy in place, if one person calls that, say, unit 224, that whole unit, somebody's going to check on that whole unit, because if one person, because it's a steam, and that's what he explained to me. And I wanted to commend you on your work and your staff, because you know you can't do it by yourself, and your staff, because it is done. But I did get some complaints about the trash being outside of the units, and some tenants would like a little bit more staff out there monitoring, or penalties, or whatever it takes to make sure that their trash is being picked up. And because I walked the property quite often. And I'm seeing what they're saying. They're saying trash in the hallways. They're saying, I do ask for work orders. I do ask for work orders to make sure that they are putting in the work order, that they're not jumping the gun, because I don't want to be the person to, I don't want to be the frontline person if they haven't put a work order in. So I do understand that. And but I know sometimes things get pressing and people see somebody and they ask them, because if it's a pressing area, I think it should be looked in, but it should be encouraged to put a work order in. And that is all that I have on maintenance and making sure, because heat is very important, and preparedness for the weather. You might have I was late, so you might have already said that, but that is so important because they said that it's supposed to be a real, not, I don't believe it's going to be that bad in Richmond, but we still need to make sure that if the water does break, where do the residents go? Because we don't want residents to have to get cardboards and have to be swimming down the river and nothing is in place. At least if we can have a policy in place that covers that. I know Mrs. Fountain, she does a good job of telling us what we need to even have in our emergency, the medicine and all of that. She has a wonderful voice on that.
I think
But
Commissioner Fishford,
yeah,
to that point, that specific point, our CEO has, I spoke with him earlier today. He has some information about the forthcoming weather, the inclement weather that we're expecting. But prior to you saying that, and thank you for your comments, I want to commend you for your level of accountability. I think as we continue to service our residents in the manner that they desire to be treated, my ultimate hope is that, in speaking to something that you made mention of, uh, we have a sense of decency, and we cannot rely upon just maintenance to help clean up. If we see trash particles in our hallway, knowing that the maintenance staff is doing a much better job, heck, a good job. Let me pick up this trash. Let me put it in the trash can. And that's what I would charge some of our residents with, to have your own self decency and not call it in as a work order. Do respect what you're saying, but as we lift our level of accountability, I think that's going to be a mindset shift. And
yeah,
that's what
but
my hope is.
I respect your opinion, but as a tenant, I'm not going to keep on cleaning up your mess, because that's not fair. That's not fair. Some of these elderly people can't even bend over to do that. So something needs to be in place. A policy needs to be enforced. I can't tell them what to do,
Yes,
but a
ma'am.
policy needs to be enforced, because if I come out my thing and I keep on smelling your stuff and I'm cleaning up once or twice, but I'm not going to keep on cleaning up. I'll take some pictures and send them where I need to go. And I don't think the tenants should have to do that, you know. And I respect what you say as well, but we can't always say what a tenant can and what a tenant can't do, but we can put some policies in place to address those.
Yeah, and it's a mindset, and we wouldn't ask anyone to do anything they are not able to do. But if we all work together, I think we can go a lot further, and that's my mindset.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
we do have a policy in place, and in a moment, I'm going to tell you what that policy is. I'm going to have Ralph Stuckey talk about the policy we do have in place with respect to that. Before we go there, and it's called housekeeping. Before we go there, when the water crisis occurred last year, I put in place a continuity of operations, recognizing that there could be severe emergencies. And so we have that in place. We have a team in place. We have a process. We have protocols, and we've got it so that it's in coordination with the city. So, as it relates to the impending snow, I'm going to turn it over. I put together a group, but I'm going to have our chief of staff tell you what we are preparing for and what we'll be reporting back on continuity of operations if the snow comes. Mr. Chief of Staff.
You actually covered just about everything I was going to say. As thorough, and I know, as thorough as you are, Mr. Nesmith. So I appreciate that. As Mr. Nesmith mentioned, we have a continuity of operations plan that goes into force whenever we have a situation like this in terms of inclement weather. That doesn't just include what happens at the properties, but our back office operations as well: procurement, communications, IT, and finance, all working in tandem in terms of what we need to do to continue operations, depending on what the situation is. So what we've done at the property level is preparing for things like ice melt. Right, we've ordered what we need as relates to that. We know that pipes may be breaking because the average temperature is about to be 18 degrees over the course of next week. So we have a standby contractor who has been contacted and in place in the event that we have some pipes bursting, that type of thing. To the point that Ms. Pitchford made about Angela and the communications team's efforts to make sure that our residents and our staff are informed about what's going on, tips on how to keep themselves and their families safe. That's part of what we do. As we monitor what's going on, because I think folks realize that we went from a projected 20 inches of snow to 6 to 10 inches. And right now they're looking at a lot of ice. And we are preparing to make a call around probably Friday morning about how we're going to handle Monday. But as we go into the weekend, Mr. Franklin, Mr. Williams have already started working with the backbone departments and the agency to coordinate notification, getting supplies, increasing our purchasing power in terms of emergency purchases that we may have to put into place. If you took the time to, if you had some time over the course of the 2-week closure at the end of the year, you may have read the business continuity plan that we put in place for that two-week closure. So it mirrors that. There's a core approach that we use depending on what's going on. So that's just a bit of what's going on. You'll once we get to that point, we make some decisions about how we're going to handle going into next week, which will probably be some sort of remote approach. So as we know there's essential operations that need to take place, we'll notify the board.
That is thorough. And that's what I love, because our residents, I believe, deserve it. Okay, because some of them are not $50 renters. Some of them are more than $50 a month. And I think that they should get what you just said, and you did it in a thorough way. And I appreciate that.
Mr. Chair, we also have what's called, even when the snow is really high, we have what's called a standby emergency team. We put in action if the whole maintenance team cannot be there. They come in emergencies no matter how the snow comes. Now, to the other item that was raised, and that is a policy. I have had the opportunity to speak at be the keynote speaker at 2 universities, and everywhere I go, I lead with 2 things. One, not only, yes, I grew up in public housing, but yes, I grew up on welfare, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, but for those, my mom would say trials and tribulations, I wouldn't be the man who I am today. But so I understand what we need to do and what our mission is to get the folks to self-sufficiency, and I'm committed to it. But what Commissioner Pitcher said is, what's the policy in terms of making sure that residents are accountable too, right? We have a duty and responsibility to say, if we're doing our part, you got to do your part. And so we do have a policy in place, and I want Ralph Stuckey, who heads up this particular policy around housekeeping and what it's intended to do, to say we want you also to be accountable if you're asking us to be accountable. Ralph.
Thank you, Coach. I'm going to pass this to my teammate, Mr. Corey Franklin, who's an expert in this matter.
Not a 3-point. That was a 3-point.
So 2 things. We're going to talk about this on 2 prongs. In regards to housekeeping, so what we have put out communication Thank you, Angela, so much for all of the signs. Is that we want to ensure that, you know, housekeeping inside the units is up to RHA standards, because one thing we want to make sure is that infestations don't travel. And the best thing we could do is be on top of it and be preventative, so that Mr. Stuckey's crew, along with Charles's, they have developed a plan that we're going to touch every unit this year, where if they do not pass housekeeping inspections, we're going to connect them to city services, as well as get them the educational requirements that they need to ensure to be able to be compliant with RHA's policies in regards to housekeeping. We have a SOP written up. We have forms written up. So there's a chain of custody, so that if a family unfortunately is terminated due to lease enforcement, due to housekeeping reasons, we can show that RHA has done everything within its power to retain that resident, as well as what we have done to refer them over to services to be compliant with RHA's policies. So I wanted to say that. In regards to the community and trash within the units. So I do know RHA tried to meet the demand, because one of the things when I first started, it was that there was a shortage of trash cans where people can dispose of those trash. So since then, we have met that need and provided the trash cans. RHA does have the ability to charge residents and provide them a fine if trash is found outside of their unit, or if they're not complying with our requirements. So I just definitely ask to continue to send those into the property managers. As a level of accountability, I have instructed the assistant vice presidents that twice a week, that is their responsibility to walk those properties with the property manager. So if they see that trash, that is something that they are able to address in real time. And then two, it keeps our property managers not on an aha, I got you moment, but you don't know when Pam Kearney or Tiana is coming out there. So they should be walking the property before they get there, and to identify those deficiencies within those family portfolios or those senior sites. In addition to this, with the assistance with my teammate, Mr. Stuckey, we are hoping to bring another Earth Day where RHA is able to go out there again, clean up some communities, and it's also to show that RHA have a vested interest in ensure that everybody in the community is clean. So with the hopes that if they see us out there cleaning up the community, then they might feel that, hey, it's equitable and let me do my part within it as well. So thank you.
Great collaboration efforts. That is a wonderful thing. Get our CEO on the back of a pickup again. Catch him on the video. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, sir, is, I want to thank you, is something that's long coming. I'm going to turn over to you, is the Board of Commissioners upcoming retreat, in which we will try to begin talking about a 5-year strategic plan for the agency. I'm going to turn it over to you, but before I do, we're also going to invite one of Mayor Vula's top cabinet members, Sharon Ebert, to do what? To talk with us and make sure, as the board is thinking about the highest and best use, as we think about real estate development, that we're doing it through the lens of what City Council passed, which is the Richmond 300 plan. That when we make our decision, we do it through that lens. That we also do it through the lens of the vision of Mayor Vula and his plan, awesome plan for affordable housing, and the partnership that he came here and laid out, which hopefully, Lord's willing, we'll be commemorating that partnership soon. But we've invited Sharon Ebert to make sure that we're not doing so in a vacuum, that we think about what City Council have done. We incorporate Mayor Vula's vision as then the board members go and deliberate. And last, before I turn to you, I want to thank you for being with me as I pulled you over to Governor Wild, and I said, Governor Wild, here's a new chairman, blah, 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 blah. We need for you to give us some wisdom. And so he has tentatively agreed to give opening remarks on February 7th to the Board of Commissioners. That's why you see him on agenda. But I want to thank you and the vice chair for working with the expert staff to come up with the agenda, sir.
Yes, just as you've shared, Mr. Vice Chair and myself have reviewed this draft agenda. And to my colleagues that are here in person, the agenda, the draft agenda is in your packet. To my colleagues who are joining us virtually online, it is my understanding that you will be hand delivered a copy of this agenda tomorrow. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm not going to walk down the entirety of this document, but I will highlight, I reiterate what our CEO just stated. As a board, we decided we would walk hand in step with the city, which is another historic event. And in doing so, as we look at our 5-year plan and all of the real estate that we have, there's an ongoing rezoning change. And we want to, as our CEO has stressed, we want to look at the bigger picture. We own a lot of real estate, and we want to make certain as we begin to plan out our next 5 years that we're doing it with the mindset of what the city has worked tirelessly and effortlessly to restructure this. And so we will be charged with that. I will share with you again, Saturday, February the 7th. It will be a full packed day. We will be fed a breakfast. We'll be fed a lighter lunch. And that was on purposely requested so that we can stay charged and ready to receive the information and equally ready to discuss the items of importance that we are, the information that's going to be conveyed to us. It's a pleasure to have, and prayerfully, this will manifest that Governor Wilder will be there with us. We will be meeting on the campus of Virginia Union, and to our partners at Dr. Lucas and staff at Virginia Union who are gracious hosts, we are ever so grateful. This is a monumental opportunity. As I stated at the beginning, for such a time as this. And so let's come prepared, come with our listening, as they used to say in class, come with your ready ears, come ready to participate, and let's get some work done. All right. Mr. Vice Chair, you have anything you want to add?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think you said it all. I'm excited about the things that we're doing, and they're all things that are necessary that a organization such as this going forward would have on a plate. Nothing's lacking here. We've all got all the ingredients. The 5-year strategic plan is definitely something we have to look at, and also HUD redevelopment principles and the applicability to the big six, and also it's just the fact that we'll asset repositioning and things of those nature. So I'm excited about these things. I'm like you. Maybe we need a light lunch.
Yeah,
some of this, but it's all due for us, and I would hope that all of us come, as a chair has said, that we will come prepared and get a good night's sleep and ready to put our hands to the wheel. Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, so this will be another public event. I'm certain that our friends at the Richmonder or some of the other media outlets may be in attendance, as well as those who choose to join us online. We will have a closed session during this day. And most importantly, yes, we have legal issues that we will be discussing in that closed session. But most importantly, for the benefit of those who aren't able to attend, the public, or those who just want to reflect on what work we were able to accomplish on this day, this will be publicly, the recording will be visible via YouTube as well. And hopefully that will enable a lot of people to keep a pulse on what's going on here at RRHA. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. I just want to say, as the board mulls over the 5-year strategic plan, I think it's important to note that there's so much that we have to do. I think you have recommended, you'll be announcing at the retreat that there's so much to do. We're going to divide it up at your recommendation, Mr. Chair, a second retreat, which will be probably sometime in April, and you would talk to your fellow board members and figure out when that would happen. I want to make note on one thing. As part of the 5-year strategic plan, we will, let me repeat it again, we will also not be focused on public housing redevelopment and the redevelopment of our non-public housing sites. Part of what we have to do is to focus on our 5-year strategic plan. How do residents fit into all of this? And so we will be intentionally, once, you all have had a chance to, as I like to say, to cook it up a little bit, stir it up. We will be coming together to say, now, how does residents fit into all that we'll be doing? Because it's at the center of what we do. And so that the residents piece of it and how we'll be empowered will be talked about as well. Part of that, sir, in terms of resident empowerment is the next item on the agenda. And that is an update to the January 13th RDC Board of Directors meeting. I want to first turn it over, if I can, to Council Patrick, who's here. And Patrick's going to talk about probably the most important thing we had on the agenda, and that is how we and our commitments to the residents. We did two big things that we listened to not only the mayor, but the residents said, we need more residents participation on the RDC board. And I'm gonna have Patrick Council talk about how the RDC board is different now. We listened to what Mayor Vula, we listened to what the advocate said. And so what Attorney Patrick's gonna share is how the RDC board now is reflective, and you can talk about the makeup of it across the board and how it's more resident focused. And I took my senior staff off the board. I know they were all weeping and crying, but they gave up their seats for what? For residents. And then he's going to also talk about how we have the RDC board voted on what's called a resident advisory committee to the RDC board. That also was voted on and that was discussed. After Patrick goes through that, we're going to turn over to SIG and talk about the RDC's financials. But first, I turn over to Patrick to talk about the structure of the RDC.
If I may, for clarification, am I understanding that we replaced some executive staff, executive leadership of RRHA with tenants?
Resident representative.
Resident representatives.
That's correct.
And in addition to that, there was a vote to add an advisory committee.
Board. Yep.
Okay, separate and apart from the RDC board.
That is correct. So we made fundamental changes to who sits on the board. And again, we listened to what the advocate said. Hey, everyone reports to Mr. Nesmith and their staff. Bye-bye. I was wearing a crown on my head or something, so fine. So I said, staff, we're going to respond to residents. You guys go. We're going to have more resident, and he's going to, Attorney Patrick, going to tell you how the RDC board structure now is resident centric. Again, in addition to that, we said, well, we still want more resident votes. The board voted on, and this RDC, the RHA board voted on what? What's called a resident advisory committee to the RDC board to get even more residents' voices in what the RDC is going to be doing. So it's resident, folks. And I'm sorry to staff that I can't kick you off, but I had to listen to what the voices of the people are saying. But why don't you talk to us about how the RDC board structure has changed and what's the purpose of the resident advisory committee?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Nesmith. So as the board approved last year, the RDC board was expanded to include 7 members. So it now includes 1 resident commissioner of RRHA, 1 voucher participant of RRHA, and the RTO president. So we've brought in more resident voices, resident leadership to the RDC board to make those important decisions impacting RDC's actions regarding real estate development and things of that nature. We also have 1 commissioner. Well, we have 2 commissioners, but 1 kind of commissioner liaison to the board, which is Commissioner Lewis. He was appointed earlier in 2025. So currently the only RRHA staff is Mr. Nesmith and Ms. Hampton, who's the SVP of Real Estate Development. So no longer does RRHA staff hold the majority seats on the RDC board.
That's what you call a makeover.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So very, very exciting. And then the second part Again, trying to elevate resident voices and ensure that the actions of RDC reflect what the residents want in our public housing communities. The board and also this board approved the creation of a resident advisory committee. That is a 7-member committee that is all of the tenant council presidents for each of the big 6, and then 1 tenant council president from the senior sites communities, who is nominated by the RTO. And all of those 7 members do additionally serve on the RTO. So we're elevating the RTO to a new position or new role and having their voices heard throughout the RRHA and RDC boards. And tonight we do have a resolution. It's just a technical amendment, but something that was at the request of the RTO and tenant council presidents. Some of the presidents felt that maybe other officers that are on the tenant council may be more, better suited to serve on the resident advisory committee. So we are empowering the tenant council, each tenant council, to nominate and kind of select who they want to actually serve on the resident advisory committee. And so again, we're trying to bring more voices to the table and empower those who serve as leaders in our communities.
That screams, we hear you. That screams, we hear you. Not only do we hear you, we are with you and you are empowered. So this is a great moment. We've had some rigorous discussion in the midst of this board about powers of an arm that belongs to this board, to this authority. And it's with gratitude, much gratitude, to hear that residents' voices are heard and that they are somewhat as accountable to the missions of the RDC as the board of RRHA. It's a great collaboration, and I look forward to what we will achieve together. This is not lip talk, lip service. This is progress in action. Again, I echo, this is progress in action. So thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for hearing voices of those who need to be heard.
Mr. Chair, the last item on the agenda, on the CO agenda, is really a celebratory moment, and that is on the agenda is listed as we are finally back home. Let me read again. We're finally back home at our RHA's 918 building there in Chamberlain. And let's that's a big moment. That's a big moment. Let's get a clap.
Over there today, and I was impressed. I mean, it was nothing like when I worked over there. It was beautiful. It was, it's top notch. Even the chairs, top notch.
And I want to say, I don't know if Fatima is on. If not, you're going to have the report. Is Fatima on? If we can get on. If she's not on, well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk a little bit about, I know because Corey's been there. We have come back home. And not only are we back at 918, we will at some point be exiting this building and creating a home for the Board of Commissioners there. We're going to do an extension so that when the board meetings also will be back in the community at some point. And so much more easily accessible to our residents. They don't have to come downtown anymore. And worry about parking. We're coming back home. Okay. And today was the first, yesterday was the first day, Corey, if I got this right. We began serving residents, and we had an overflow. We gave some numbers today from Fatima. I mean, there were so many residents, wish Fatima was here to tell herself, but we had to use, there was no more parking left at 918. We had to use the overflow parking over at 901. And the residents were just, I hear, just thrilled to be there. And Corey, Fatima's not here because she was on the ground. It's too bad she's not here to give the numbers, but we had an outstanding number of residents who showed up, and they were just thrilled. I'm so glad Fatima's not here, but but you got to do it best. We had a record number of residents being served.
So I will be remiss if we didn't thank you, Mr. Nesbitt, for championing this endeavor to bring us back to 918. So I definitely want to give you credit for being, the spear on this initiative. So definitely want to give you your accolades on that one. Just to kind of put this in perspective, we served 142 walk-ins the other day. And I just want to say, Fatima, everybody knows I always sing her praises when she's in the room and not in the room, but she handled it with grace. She pivoted where she needed to, but she made sure that we did not miss a beat in regards to providing customer service to our residents. So we had a recertification clinic today, and we're going to continue to do operational needs out of 918. Like to thank Capital, like to thank Procurement, Communications, everybody who was an important part of bringing us back to 918. We're going to continue to provide the metrics, and our goal is that we can continue our surveys at 918 so that now as people are coming into that building, we can get a better pulse on operationally how easy is it to do business with RHA in regards to the Housing Choice Voucher Program.
Excellent, excellent. I tell you, Vice Chair and I, we toured, and it's new life in that building. And with much gratitude, we are thankful. We're thankful for several reasons. One, because it represents a cost savings for us. And number two, but probably most importantly, how can you serve people that you're not centered with? And so we are in the presence of our residents. We are accessible. And we make it easy. So kudos to our team, our forward thinking. It's like a brand new building. It really is. It's not lipstick on a pig. It looks good. It looks good.
So, Mr. I can take the whip off my back you had on there. Like, when is it going to open up?
Well, we'll just readjust the whip and go somewhere else. We've got capacity. That's a joke. But I speak to this a lot. Our CEO, we've had some good, very early morning conversations. I'm not too much on the late night stuff because I go to bed about 30 minutes from now. So I'm up early, I pray. But the mistake that was made, it wasn't a real mistake, but we're responding so well. We are tuned, we are in tune, we are aligned for this moment. And the staff continues to show great capacity. Over the 2 weeks that, staff had off, I don't think Ms. Cole got the memo. I don't think you got the memo of being off for 2 weeks. I was over here a couple times myself, and our capacity is so enormous that I think that we are just starting to catch our wind, and we're about to start picking up the pace. Tell I gotta be quiet, I know. But it's because of you guys that we continue to win. And we're going to win for all of our residents and this authority. So kudos to you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that includes the CEO updates. We're now into committee updates, sir.
First, we have real estate. Vice Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I want to just say to the body that the real estate committee is excited about being back to work, and it's just remarkable some of the things that are going on over there as far as Grace Street is concerned, and as Sherelle Hampton said in our meeting, they're cooking with gas. I think that was her words, and it's really that, and they're interacting with the community. That we're not just doing this in a vacuum, but we're getting their input on things, and I'm excited for that to happen. And also we're looking at the Anna Julia Cooper project, which is a great project because that's one of our community things where we're interacting with the community and shaking hands with them and saying, okay, this is something that we want to do. We want to come into the community and they're benefiting us, and we want to benefit them. They're the ones who take take a lot of our kids into school and from the Big Six, and they give them free lunch and lessons and everything else. So that's a great project. And at some point in time, I think Mr. Nesmith wants to do a one-on-one and go over there and do some things in person. But you know, and just and I want to back up just a little bit, because the project at 918, when we went there, me and the chair, my sentiments are the same. I thought it was a great project. I thought we didn't get enough press on it. I saw it on TV the other day, and they did a outside thing like there was no inside, and they needed to see what was happening internally in there and how the participants were going to benefit to the utmost as a result of those changes and the dollars that were invested in that project to make it a number one top flight project. So hopefully at some point in time we'll come back on that again. But I'll let Ms. Hampton share with you. I was impressed with the fact that we have a project on with Douglas Development that they're going to do, what is it, 45 units and a rehab, and they use now us as a conduit fund. So money coming in, and that's always good when we see money coming into this, because we have to find multiple ways of having units of money coming in with HUD doing the things that they're doing to us. But that's okay. We're figuring a way to make our way through this. So if Ms. Hampton, if you share what we did in synopsis, I sure would appreciate it. Thank you.
Vice Chair Parker, Chair of our Real Estate Committee. Thank you, Vice Chair Parker, and Chair of our Real Estate Committee. To all commissioners, my colleagues and guests, our residents this evening. A couple of things that I think are exciting. First, with Creighton Court, Phase A was completed. We did the keys ceremony, but it is 95, almost 96% leased up at Creighton Court in the Purcell building. Phase B is 99% complete, and we hope to have another key ceremony in April. And we are working with our sister department or division, HCV, on working with them to get that lease up started. I'm very happy to recognize Ms. Beth Keenan, who is our TCB local representative here, and our partner. TCB is the developer for that new Creighton, known now as Creighton Renaissance. That's their new name. So that's just exciting there. 11 of the 68 units have gone to former Creighton residents, and that will keep increasing each phase. So we're looking forward to Phase B now, and that leasing up and key ceremony in April. Another exciting thing, as you heard Vice Chair Parker share, was around 400 East Grace Street. And I think this goes back to the whole theme of customer service and how we're outreaching and engaging. We did in September a virtual meeting with the businesses that are around 400 East Grace. A lot of folks of the business owners said they were going to attend, but for whatever reason, it was very limited participation. I again want to recognize the RECD staff and Ms. Carter Walker. She took it upon herself and she walked and expanded the blocks, giving out an overview of the project, what was coming up, and so forth. And while that project is in the planning stages, our developer PRC is working very diligently. They have applied for funding and going forward with that 400 East Grace Street. It will be solely for elderly and disabled folks. So it is the same population when that building came offline, but it will be renovated. It will have some commercial space on the bottom. So we have extended that outreach, and you all should have that information in your packets, even to the church that's in the neighborhood to keep them abreast. We also went to 3 entities. Venture Richmond has the update, and we will continue to update throughout that redevelopment of that building, this engagement and outreach. We also outreach to not only Venture Richmond, but the local business association or neighborhood association for downtown. And we sent it to the arts entity that deal with arts and murals, so they will know what's going on. So I'm very proud of the work that my teammates are doing. So I think that outreach is just a carryover from what we do with our residents to ensure that. So I think those are some of the highlights. Unless there are questions on other projects, I'm happy to respond, Mr. Chair, as appropriate.
Do any of my colleagues have questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the presentation, Ms. Hampton. I was just going back through your report. So as I recall from our October, I think it was October budget meeting, we were expecting to go to financial close on Grace Place in November. Have we, it looks like we've extended that, or have we not closed on Grace?
No, we have not closed. Commissioner Hardeman, they came to us in December and asked for an extension based on the environmental review and historic preservation protocols that they have to go through in order to get historic tax credits. So they have asked for an extension until March 31. We're understanding that that may take a little longer to May 31st, but we're not sure. What we have right now is March 31, but I do want to cue the board up that that may need to be extended based on what's out of our control is the state and national historic preservation, their protocols that the developer has to follow. But they are also applying for funds as they can. So I hope I've answered your question, Commissioner Hardeman.
You did, but I mean, a follow-up, and I think this is probably for the finance team or Mr. Nesmith, is that our budget was based pretty heavily on the sale of that building. So I'm just wondering what impact it's having on our finances.
I would like our financial advisor to speak to that issue.
Thank you very much. We have skipped the RDC financial review, which we will discuss in the next session when I do my brief. However, I was advised that a small down payment will proceed in the month of January. I also, in my financial brief, will be happily reporting that we already reimbursed back the cash float from the RRHA of $900,000 because we have now a different discipline in cash management. Right now, the budget is not suffering, and right now I'm not proceeding with the assumption that the RDC will need to provide the resources over to RRHA on the budget. But when we discuss the financials, we can go deeper into that.
Thank you. So that deposit, will that, the deposit being made in January, will that be considered a hard deposit, non-refundable?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you for that report. Next up, next up, we have property management. Commissioner Brody, Chairman of Property Management, you prepared to speak, ma'am?
Yes, I am. I'm very proud of the report from tonight, and I want to say thank you to Mr. Franklin and Mr. Williams for taking accountability, because everybody know that's something I'm real passionate about. But I'm not gonna hold up no more time. And Mr. Franklin, are you ready to give the report?
Always.
Thank you.
So I just want to say that just echoing with Commissioner Brody, has said is that she holds us extremely accountable, and she based it off if she's experiencing it, then potentially there could be some more experiences throughout our portfolio. And she is very passionate about ensuring that the quality of life for all of our residents meet the satisfaction that we would want for ourselves. So I just definitely want to say that. And I also want to say is that um, in the property management committee meeting, we presented our impact report, which was a report that basically said that where we started at the start of the fiscal year of October 1, 2024, and where we ended at the start of the previous fiscal year of September 30th, 2025. And that entire report was based off of baseline and statistical analysis to say what was the impact RHA had within that fiscal year, and how did we move our programs forward. So I didn't want to have that report highlight and say that Corey, you did the success, but when you guys looked at the report, I hope that you got a good sense of Charles, Fatima, Rao, Don Mullins, Calandra, Dasman, um, and Ralph Stuckey, all of the VPs who make that a possibility. So what I do wanted to say is just some highlights of where we are at. For the first time in a few years, I don't want to say the history, but in a few years, we have under 1,000 work orders. We started at 4,500. A few weeks ago, we was at 935. Within tandem, as we all talk about Gilpin, Gilpin is one of, hate to say it, it's the boogeyman for me because it's an old infrastructure where we know that there's a lot of care that's needed to keep it up. We're able to say that for the first time ever, we're under 400 open work orders at that property, but before it wasn't to that level, we was in the thousands. And I can attribute that to the hard work and the dedication, and where the staff may have, they didn't rest on, we've always did it this way, or that's the status quo, but they rose to the occasion. And I just let you guys into something. One thing I always say to my staff is, I refuse to drink pickle juice. I'm not drinking pickle juice. I don't like pickle juice. Like, I refuse to drink it, and I expect excellence. So when I say that, to say is that they leverage technology with the Ion radio system. We work with communication to produce surveys where we were able to say this is our customer satisfaction rate and how to pivot. ACV, we have grown our program where, yes, we started at 4,060 vouchers with a utilization in at 80%, but working with SIG and Sherelle, we're able to go after additional vouchers where we can increase our baseline of our voucher program to about 4,200 and so voucher. That means that's more families we can assist. For the first time ever, the VA committed to an application where we can request more vast vouchers, or those are vouchers that can assist our nation's veterans so we can increase housing. I'm just naming a few successes. We're able to say that every month we have an audit trail. And sometimes I want to go in and say, listen, I don't want those numbers to be reported, but I hold my self accountable every month and say, this is my QC rate and this is what we're going to do to improve it. And whatever comes that way, but at least I can rest my head on that pillow and say that we are working in transparency, and we're working to ensure that everything that we touch represents dollars for this agency, whether it's a family spending more dollars out of their household budget, or whether the housing authority has to spend more federal dollars where we're not calculating things correctly. We have trained our staff. Mr. Nesmith communicated that we have done town hall meetings. We can say that we have trained all of our staff to the expectations that we are expecting to them. They have went through public housing specialist training. I have gone through public executive training. My VPs have gone through training, and we're creating a training program based off of when we QC, what are we finding out there, and how can we train to that expectation. And just before I go, modernization of our senior sites. I know the beginning of the year, we had that beautiful, I know that Cheryl coordinated a lot of that beautiful unveiling of the modernization projects, but that's things that Don Mullins and his team champion to make sure we get done. So I just say that we have a lot of work in front of us, and I'm not resting on that, hey, attaboys, but I just want to let you guys know that I am holding myself to accountable of that. I don't want to drink pickle juice, so I'm not making you guys drink pickle juice either. So thank you guys.
Well, thank you, because I think your enthusiasm is highly visible, and I believe that's has bled into your staff. And sometimes it just requires someone, you know. I think positivity is contagious. You know, for as much as we know, negative things are talked about and widespread, but in this day and time, there's a hunger, there's a thirst and desire for positive stories, for progressive work. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you and your staff. And sold yourself short because those research are also doing well too. And the recertifications mean, um, we have property owners, landlords who partner with us as well. And so, you know, hats off to you. Keep it going.
I needed something to brag about in 26, so that's why I kept that to the vest.
All right. All right.
Mr. Chair, if I
Yes,
may.
sir. Absolutely.
In terms of hard work, I just want to say, I want to thank Senior Vice President Cheryl Hampton for correcting the record. There was an article in the newspaper, I won't say which, people can find their own, that said that there was this one developer, I hadn't heard anything about the development there. And, I got all this capital. They just only get in touch with me. I can rebuild it. And, I got all this money. I can't get in touch with the organization. Man, people call me every single day. If residents can find my number, you can find my number. Oh, and this, if no, I could make it beautiful. Just let me walk in. And I'm glad you correct the record, Miss Hampton, because you said what your staff did. All the doors, the businesses up and along. Did you miss? Did you miss everyone? Maybe you missed one or two. But I'm glad you just set the record straight. What you and your staff did, McCarter was knocking on doors, and we coordinated that effort. And we're going to do it again. But we coordinated that effort with Councilman Robinson, who was on it. So I just want to say thank you for cracking the record, because your efforts have not gone unnoticed. Thank you. I just want to say that.
Absolutely. And, again, I like to kind of replay things that my parents instilled in me that I instill in my children. I don't too much worry about the negativity that people are always chasing a negative story, but what they can never defeat, truth and what's right. As long as we stay true, as long as we do what's right, you know, those people who have a second agenda, alternative motive, they'll always come up short. All right. So thank you again.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Before we move forward to the next report, I need to back up just a second here, because I need to give Colleen the opportunity to talk about an MBE report. She had an excellent report for this year coming up, and we don't want to let that go unsaid. So she made sure that we got the revised report also, and it's just outstanding work that she's doing.
Colleen.
Caught me off guard. I do want to report that we practically doubled our goals last year across all of the reporting for MBE, WBE, and Section 3, which was great. I had, as suggested, taken, thank you, the whole of 2025 and did an analysis on that. And that's where I got the numbers from. So we're really looking forward to exceeding them even further this year.
Well, you know what they say, when when you're leaping over your goals so easily, your capacity has expanded, and maybe we need to expand the goal.
Well, see, and then I had mentioned in that meeting that we doubled the MBE despite you increasing that goal number on us last year.
So what do you think? What do you say, Mr. Vice Chair? You think it needs another increase? It certainly sounds that way, and thank you for your tireless efforts, because I can recall, I'm sure my colleague can recall, when we were pushing the thresholds, we knew it was more work for you. It takes a lot more effort. but you've answered every call, and you look like it's just running off your shoulders now, and that's what I mean by capacity. We have capacity. And if we don't take advantage of our own capacity, we're missing the moment and we're misusing our gifts. And we have a very gifted team.
And if I may say, Mr. Chairman, some of her predecessors in that position, they took that a little lightly. And I'm just so excited about the fact that she jumps in and she just takes it the bull by the horns and goes down the road with it, because I hear all good things from the community about working with Colleen. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right.
Great.
Well, our next report is going to be from Commissioner Elliott, Chairman of the Governance Committee. Mr. Elliott, are you still with us, sir?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Governance Committee met this month. We discussed a few proposed board policies and public meeting policies. We didn't have the wisdom of George Martin with us, who drafted the policies for us to fully digest and discuss. So those policies are going to come to the full board when George is available for us to further discuss. And then George will implement some changes based on our conversation about those policies, and they'll make their way back to the governance committee for an additional review once those changes are implemented. Additionally, the annual review of the CEO initiates in the governance committee, and with the completion of 2025 and the prior year's objectives and goals set by this board of 2025, the governance committee will take up that initiation of the review at our April meeting. That was the business we conducted. And if Ms. Webb is there, or Patrick wants to add anything else that I may have missed.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. An additional thing that we discussed was changing of the board and committee's meeting schedule. That was a proposal and recommendation from the staff, and that is still being discussed. And as was stated in the governance committee meeting, it is really up to the committee chairs. We do think it is a great proposal that we still want you all to review, and we can have further discussion to ensure the transparency, but also the review of meeting materials in advance and in a timely fashion.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes, sir. Please.
I just want to make a comment really quickly. Again, this is another example of us listening to advocates and please, you got to do this, you got to do this. We didn't see an issue of non-transparency. We saw the issue is under what we call project optimization, where we're trying to make sure we're much more efficient. Because folks have come and said, well, why aren't you putting things out in advance? We need more transparency. And I always say that Miss Priscilla Jackson, she ain't trying to hide no documents from nobody. She ain't trying to put documents out late. She's the most honest person anyone could find. And it really has been a result, I think, of our chief of staff and Mike Kelly, who's been pushing us. But also I have to give the advocates their credit. They've been coming to the public meeting saying, do it, do it, do it. And despite our busy schedule, she came in on the weekends, and we came up, as Denise said, with this proposal. Again, just responding to what was earlier said, to what the advocate. So we are being responsive. We're trying our best.
Absolutely. Everything is self-corrective. We're putting forth the effort, we're listening, and good things continue to happen. And so I look forward to many more meetings with the same energy level in terms of the good news that we have. Okay. Commissioner Elliott, is that all?
Yep, that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Next, we have Administration of Finance. Commissioner Lewis is out, so our CEO will defer to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had I would say, a really thorough and good admin and finance committee meeting. I want to thank many of the board members who asked piercing and thorough questions about our budget, about whether or not our budget was so relying on the sale of 400 and where we are today, about where we are with respect to the funding on vouchers and what's coming out of Washington, D.C., and where we are, about where we are with our reserves. There was rigorous discussion around our budget and about our budget and leadership of Greg Lewis. I love him. You were on that call. He was asking some very piercing questions, and we're just fortunate to have a singleista here. Sig has been with us from the beginning. When I first arrived, she and Precious, I asked both of them to do an audit on our finance department, and Sig was one of the co-authors with Precious. And Sig has been a mentor of Precious for many years. When we first saw her down in New Orleans, and I was so happy again, I was able to say, Precious, I'm gonna have you step up to the plate. I'm gonna give you your first opportunity as an African-American woman to be a CFO. I knew it was her dream, but I knew that Sig, as a mentor, was right there. And so we're lucky. Sig has been a CFO at several of the largest housing authorities. I always knew at some point, because Precious was coming from making a trek from Baltimore, that I would get her sitting in that seat. I got to find some glue, but we're going to find a permanent person. She said, "Don't put no glue in my seat." But we are really fortunate to have her expertise. She will be giving us financial advice during the retreat as well, and she has been advising housing authorities across the country. So Sig, I turn to you, Sig.
And she also has a good sense of humor, I learned too.
The different layers that I have, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. I know I'm really the just the one before the resolutions to hold you up for early bedtime, and hopefully you all had light dinner. So let me keep it brief. Unfortunately, finance is really in the situation where we don't have great success stories to share. We don't have all the good accolades that we can share on what we do. We are a backbone department, and people rely on us for the transparency, accuracy of data. We always live in the past because we deal with audits. We live in the current, and we always look forward because there's always another budget season. So a lot of people forget that. And I apologize. I'll just take a few minutes
Sure.
to regress and go back to the RDC financials, because that particular financial report was shared January the 13th. I know Commissioner Lewis was unable to make it. He asked me to do the presentation tonight. I keep it brief, down to about 3 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
So the RDC, just as a refresher, has a different fiscal year aside from the Housing Authority. The fiscal year for the RDC is July through June, whereas the Housing Authority's fiscal year is October through September. So when I brief the numbers, 5 months of data has already passed, or activity. The budget, if I, thank you, Ms. Priscilla, just blow it up a little bit for those eyes that need the readers, but I will read them to you. In the 5-month budget, it was anticipated to have $389,000 in revenue. We had 20,000. However, I want to report, as of January, we already collected $80,000 of the bond revenue that is not reflected here. So we are actually inching away. If we had received that 500,000 down payment a little earlier, we would already have made the budget. So all these things are a little bit delayed, but they're still going to occur in this financial fiscal year of the RDC. That is the reason for the budget variance. On the expense side, the budget was anticipating to spend down 581,000 for 5 months. We only spent 219,000. Why is that? A budget is a plan. Things delay. Activity occurs when it occurs. When it's posted, that creates the variances. So in the RDC, whatever the nature of the business is, real estate and a gray street, when the expenses are not necessary, that's a good thing, because we want to keep that profit in the RDC. That creates the large difference of underspending. The budget was anticipated through 5 months to lose 191,000. We lost 199,000. So we are actually only doing or off $8,000, which is really nothing. However, I just reported that last year in the bond, we collected $180,000, and this year it will be 80,000. With the deferred fee money coming in from the Gray Street, $500,000, we're actually doing very well. And that's why we're not anticipating to move any of the funds. As you see, the months of cash reserves is close to 11 months. And I want to highlight some of the activity. I'm not going over the balance sheet, but I want to highlight some of the departmental highlights that we are observing. I was talking earlier about the $900,000 cash float. The board had approved $1 million cash float as needed. Every now and then there could be a pinch from timing of cash receipts related to the RRHA when they can draw down operating subsidy. That float was actually reimbursed back mid-December, $900,000, which increased back the cash balance for the RDC to earn interest. We had budgeted fee income of $318,000. A portion of it was Gray Street and then other fee income. And what we discussed earlier from the rent savings, the 5th floor is vacant with the exception we are using this boardroom. Soon we will know what we can do as far as when we're materializing cost savings, because the HCV department really was floated in the occupancy space from the RDC budget. So once we have that information, we will be able to redo the lease payment for the office building, because there's a little table, as you see on the last slide, Ms. Priscilla. I put a little table in there for the lease payment of the office building, where the central office cost center bears the bulk, over 50%, a little bit of public housing, and the RDC $339,000. So this money is basically, we are not going to materialize right away 339,000. We're already a few months in. So we have to see what is happening with the subletting and see what the amendments are going to do to the lease agreements to then calculate adequately what the savings will be for this fiscal year. But we know that the value that the RDC can save will be close to about $340,000 in the next budget year for that lease. That concludes the RDC briefing on the financial highlights. And you know that the RDC only meets quarterly. So quarterly, I will bring the financials to the full board on RRHA as I brief the RDC quarterly.
Awesome. Awesome.
On the financials to the Housing Authority, again, I will keep it brief. We agreed that we discussed November. We are almost caught up. If I can just make a small comment, if the board were to consider changing its date for meetings related to Finance Committee, you would always have current financial statements. The team is now caught up tonight after you go to bed.
Okay.
I will actually review the draft financial statements for the month of December.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow they will make additional corrections, and then those December statements will be distributed. Remember, we had to catch up with year end and the unaudited financial submission. That is all done. Of course, the holidays, Christmas, we have to celebrate that. So we're back full swing. We have a new closing schedule, and if we are able to deliver up to the closing schedule in the 4th week, we always will have current financial statements because we're shooting for mid-month. And that is not attainable if the meeting for finance specifically will continue in the 3rd week of the month. So I'm briefing today on the month of November that it was available as of today, of course. We're going to the briefing packet where we have the summary of our main programs, which is Central Office Cost Center, Housing Choice Voucher Administration portion, Housing Choice Voucher, Housing Assistance Payments, the Real Estate Department, and then Low Income Public Housing. On the top, the revenue line, you can. You found the packet, November? We don't have it? Oh, no, we don't have it in the, okay, no problem. Do we have the handouts?
Yeah.
It was emailed, okay, it was emailed, okay. So, I'm going to,
Yeah, we've got that. He just doesn't.
I'm just going to cover the cover sheet briefly. October, November, which is 2 months activity, always look great. I want to say that because you just start the fiscal year. So we really had no big mishaps on revenue misses on the program side. On the expense side, we really did not have any outliers as far as expenses. It's a matter of timing of expenditures. So for the whole agency, the difference in the revenue budget was $616,000 that was projected higher that we did not receive. And that basically is timing of the housing assistance payments and the administrative fee receipts that come in from HUD. On the expense side, we projected the budgeted expenditures for 2 months to be at 16.4 million. We expended 15.5 million. Again, that's a good and positive thing. The expenditures basically across the agency, primary government had $932,000 in savings. Everybody's budget in every program looked great. Why? We're only 2 months in. You cannot be broke after 2 months. So what I'm suggesting is, as I was telling to my colleagues, operating subsidy in the new calendar year was projected in the budget at 95%. However, HUD is only giving us 86%. What does that mean? If you're eligible for $1, a proration factor of 86% says you receive 86 cents to the dollar. So we are short at 14 cents to the dollar. What does that mean to this agency? 14 cents short to the dollar for public housing and operating subsidy means $250,000 less per month. In 5 months, we will materialize a loss of $1.250, so $1,250,000. Therefore, the savings that we generated between October, November, hopefully December, will have to carry us through the harder times that are about to come up in the financial statements. So we had, for public housing, a savings of $924,000 for 2 months. And of course, there will be pressure on the capital fund program to cover much of the modernization and larger expenditures for repairs. And we are preparing for the next 5 months. We do not know what the appropriations will do. If you have those questions today, we're in continuing resolution, but once that information is available, we'll see. I also prepared our budget manager. If we need to do a budget revision as a result of bad news from Washington, D.C. related to funding, we will bring the budget revision to you to prepare for that. But right now we are asking programs actively to really go through and tighten up the belt a little bit to prepare us for the next 5 months. So that's what we're doing proactively. The other good news on the reserves in public housing in particular, we were concerned we should have 4 months. Through November, we are at 5.21 months. We were at 2 months at year end. So we're making a little bit of headway and we don't want to lose ground. So those are the kind of, in numbers terms, highlights, other than I want to tell you what the mighty finance team was doing as far as delivering on timelines and deadlines. We submitted our operating subsidy on time, 10/21. Our unaudited submission went in 5 days early on 11/25. We had an unaudited submission acceptance by HUD without comment and without rejection, which is very, very uncommon. HUD React team, the gap accountants always have something to say about something, and we did not have any comments and no rejections. So that's kudos. I had the team work hard with me on my eyes when I said, nope, we got to look at this, we got to look at this, and we got to fix this, and we got to fix that. So we got over that, and we have no comments. We also met our first deadline on the audit list for the auditors. They are ready. They're coming in February to begin site review on the records as well as financial audit. So we've met that deadline. We are on track to finishing early, hopefully in May, for the audit. And we're actively working on additional balance sheet reconciliations that we have to perform, and always revisit annual allocations to make sure our programs are charged accordingly. And that concludes my report for today.
Commissioner Pritchford, did you have a question?
You will, ma'am. So what happens is, thank you for asking that question, Commissioner Pitchford. So the unaudited went in and the auditors have to do now their work. Typically, we have 9 months after our fiscal year closes. So by June, the audit has to be completed. We believe we might be able to give the results to the board around May. That's our goal. And when the audit is bound and it is submitted to HUD, then you will have a hard copy after it's released by the auditor. So prepare yourself to have good reading material that will put you to sleep in the month of July, for sure.
Turn on your mic, Commissioner.
This is the last question about the finance. When you do your financing and your accounting, do we do horizontal? Like it's I'm trying to get that word. It's horizontal or vertical. You know, when you are calculating everything up, how do
Mhm.
y'all do that?
When I present data, we really look at, I look at buckets.
Okay.
And my buckets go from left to right. So I start with one program, that's one bucket. I have another program that's to the right, that's another program. So I go horizontally across and I go vertically up and down with the line items. So revenue up at the top, expenditures, and then net profit.
Okay. And then this is with that question. Okay, I know we're not porting, but are we collecting from anybody who's porting in? Are we
Excellent
actively?
question. Excellent question. Love that question. I know my colleague already left, but we have looked at our balance sheet and we had a growing concern on the balance sheet, meaning accounts receivables associated to overpayments or poured in collections. And we already put a dent in. We closed the year end at $2 million receivable, and we're already down $1.7 million.
Okay.
We are also working now very actively with our legal department on collection notices. So we are going to send out traditional dunning notices and potential through the collection agency that we're about to secure to do further collection on those balances. So that all will be done. And of course, we have many challenges across many housing authorities have experienced the same challenges as we experience, whether rent is being collected or porting agencies. There's probably a new word that you are being confronted with that's called shortfall. Many
Yes.
jurisdictions and housing authorities in many different states are experiencing shortfall. When they are in shortfall and individuals port, which they have the right to do, it may be a delay in payment as well because they too have to wait for the resources to receive in order to make those payments. So that's across the nation. We are not exempted from that.
Okay. So what you have already said, are our variances coming down?
Down, yes.
Okay, because I know we had
And that
some
means
high.
rolling up sleeve and scrubbing and house cleaning.
Okay, all right. I just was checking it. Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
Any of my colleagues have any questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you for the report. Can we, what are tenant rent collections compared to what was budgeted?
Thank you for that question, Commissioner Hardiman. We are actually preparing a historical chart. We actually completed a portion of that already with staff, where we're looking back for 1 year, what the rent collection, what the revenue posted was versus cash receipt. I am awaiting the final numbers for the next 4 months from October through January, because I want to see the movement of the needle of collections meeting the revenue line. And when I have that chart completed, I plan on having just a small excerpt in the financial brief to add that particular slide to the presentation. If you can wait for next month, I will have a very clear picture on that for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is our reimbursement rate down because of occupancy or for some other reason?
When you refer to reimbursement rate in relationship to occupancy, can you please expand?
Yeah, for public housing, you said HUD is reimbursing us at 86, I think, and we budgeted at 95. Is that,
Correct.
are we lower because of, what, I guess a better
What
question is, what is the reason for the lower?
what drives the proration? Okay, so I've been in this business for a little bit, and I wanted to give credit to Ralph Stuckey. The FSS program always had been funded, and the budget was never reduced by appropriations, contrary to the public housing dollars. When you watch and monitor proration, one thing you will find, even for this housing, for every housing authority nationally, although proration rates go up and down, when you look at the average rate on what the Appropriations Act or through HUD awards to housing authorities nationally, you always come out 100%. For example, last calendar year, we received a proration rate of 102.405. That's when HUD makes up the good times and gives you more cash. Whereas in January through May, our proration rate is 86. When you look over a span of average about 7 to 8 years, housing authorities always receive 100%. So I have a historical proration chart where you can see that. What does that mean? That means you must build up your reserves to prepare for the times when budget is tight at the appropriations, to have the reserves to bring you through that period of time. Nationally, what HUD does is they look at our submissions of the financial data schedule, and if they see that housing authorities sit on the reserves, they have the opportunity to reduce through proration and deplete the reserves at the housing authority level, while when the budget is good, they're able to give us those funds back that we needed for operations and build back up the reserves. So it's cyclical. It is driven by decisions made through Appropriations Act and what HUD distributes to housing authorities. We are one of 3,300, and the salami slice approach usually works for HUD. If I reduce or don't have the resources, I reduce everybody. So every housing authority receives 86 cents to the dollar at the moment for the next 5 months.
Yeah.
I hope I answered your question.
Answer mine.
That was very thorough. I'm not an accountant by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm not an accountant by trade. Thank you.
And but it sounds like you guys are on par. Commissioner Hardiman, did you have further questions?
Not right now. I still kind of want to understand what, because for our budget, there were a lot of things that were reliant upon RDC, and I just want to make sure.
Not at the moment. At the moment, the RDC is not, the RRHA is not reliant on the RDC's budget, and it is the goal to not have to use any of the proceeds that are coming into the RDC to be diverted over to the RRHA.
And Mr. Chair, if I may?
Absolutely.
So we did, as the commissioner mentioned, Harmon, we did rely on it. The good news, before Precious left, she turned to me and said, I got one gift for you. I said, what's that? We do not have to move that over. Let me repeat what she said for all the commissioners. We do not have to move that over. I said, Mike Kelly, you imagine what she just said? So I said, the first thing we're going to do is talk to SIG and to make sure that is true. And so, yes, it is true. That is what we did rely on. But the good news is we don't have to. That is the good news. And so I'm going to say something that SIG said, that the finance department doesn't have great stories. Well, they do have a great story. That is the great story. We originally did rely on, as Hardman said, but we don't have to.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna say two other things of good news. We submitted last year our unaudited statements to HUD. For the first time, HUD had they said we had no findings. That is something good for your department. You said nothing. She just said we just submitted our unaudited financials to HUD, no comment. HUD, as former assistant secretary HUD, they always have a comment. So they do have something to brag about.
But by nature, Probably conservative. That's
One
why.
final, yeah, one final comment. We will bring a reconciliation memorandum between
Okay.
the budget actually submitted to the board versus the final budget actually loaded. So we will bring a reconciliation memorandum. That's an outstanding item. We're working on it because I realized that the numbers look a little different because when you're influx and do a lot during the budget period and you find another item that you made an operational decision on that impacts the numbers positively, then we need to bring that back to the board.
And we're up to date now with the finance. We're not working on
Nope, we're up to
2025
date.
or
I
2024.
will close the books tomorrow. They will close tomorrow for
That's why I wanted
December.
y'all to.
Yes.
So this that is good news, Sig. I agree with our CEO, and thank you for a very detailed and not over the head explanation of where we stand. That's greatly appreciated. Um, the tide is turning, guys, and hopefully it's obvious. And so, and another positive, as we look at this partnership with the city of Richmond, I can recall a conversation with our CEO and kind of paralleled it to a real estate deal. If I'm partnering with you, I want to know what your capacity is, financially, so that I know before, things get rough, what you can and you cannot do. And so, as a part of our partnership, we're going to open up our books. We're going to open up our books so that the city can see what they have in a partner. And this marriage will be historically great. And so a lot of the things that we have concerns about, things are running on par. Obviously, we have to continue to put our finger on things and press hard and be good stewards of what we have. But we are meeting the expectations of the board comprehensively.
Your point, we did as part of when Mayor Vula came in to this board and made this his bold vision, which I think it is a bold vision. We've already been submitting. It's not what we're going to do. We've been submitting our financials to them, and they've been happy thus far. And I'm finally, as you know, and appreciate your efforts in it. We'll be meeting with the mayor's team this Friday to continue the conversations around that partnership. But we've already been transparent with our financials, and we'll continue to do so.
It's a new day. Thank you for your work. So that being the case, I think we can, Mr. Parker, I'm sorry, Mr. Carter, we can look at our resolutions now.
Yeah. All right. Just want to make sure that in my mind, I know exactly all the commissioners that are still with us at this moment. I know that Mr. Jackson's with us, Mr. Parker, Ms. Brody. Yes, Ms. Brody's with us. Mr. Elliott, Mr. Hardeman, Mr.
I'm here.
Johnson. Okay. Mr. Lewis had to leave. And Ms. McCray is absent, and Ms. Pitchford is here. Okay, all right. We still maintain our quorum, and we're ready to move forward. What I would like to do is, I was advised that on a few of the resolutions, they look like, all the resolutions look like they had gone through, or at least they had come through committee, but there were two that were not reviewed by the real estate committee, that is 04 and 05. So when we get to those resolutions, we probably will have more dialogue with staff and the commissioners about those resolutions before approval. All right, let's go through resolution number 1. Resolution regarding the issuance of multifamily housing revenue bonds for the acquisition, construction, renovation, and equipping of the approximately 48-unit Savella Residences multifamily housing facility to be located in the city of Richmond. All right, this resolution also already had a public hearing which took place. So without further ado, I'd like to have a motion for approval of Resolution 1.
So moved.
Okay, so moved by Mr. Parker, seconded by Ms. Pitchford. Okay, let's have roll call for approval.
Do we have questions or comments, or have you passed that?
I do apologize. Call the question.
I don't have a question, just have a statement. I believe I stand in agreement with our real estate chair, Commissioner, Vice Chair, Commissioner Parker. This is a good project. This is something that I made mention of during the meeting. This fits. When I look at affordable housing, I'm hopeful that in the future, as I asked the representative of Douglas Development, try and bring us development projects that have 2 or more bedrooms. And the reason I want to state this now is because, and I understand this is not the project, but I want to go on record because if we look at true affordable housing and we look at our families, many of those have children. And so this, while it matches the definition of affordable housing, but it doesn't really help move the needle in the efforts that we collectively are working toward. For a 1 bedroom or an efficiency, that is a graduate student, it's not a family who's trying to make it. I support the project, but I do want to go on record. Hopefully we can encourage development projects where we're a pass through. And our primary goal is to support families and help the city of Richmond with the true definition of affordable housing, where more families have stable homes where they can afford. That would be a great desire. And I challenge us to seek such projects. That's all.
All right, are there any more questions, discussions? Resolution 1? All right, we'll go to the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Aye.
Mr. Parker,
Aye.
Ms. Brody,
Aye.
Mr. Elliott,
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson, okay, he's not with us now. Ms. Pitchford.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. Resolution 1 is approved. All right, let's go to resolution number 2. Resolution 2. Yes? I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir, Commissioner Johnson.
I was on mute. It didn't mean to be.
All right,
mean,
okay. All right, we
mean,
will add Mr. Johnson for yes and approve.
Yes.
Aye. Okay. All right. All right, we're going to resolution 2 now. All right, resolution number 2 is, excuse me, resolution on approval of the assignment from Churchill North LLC to RVA Community Development Corporation as the tenant in the previously approved 9-mile homeownership project ground lease. I'd like to tee this motion up, or this resolution up, for approval. Motion for approval from who? Ms. Pitchford. And do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Parker. Okay. All right. I'd like to call the question. Now, this resolution was recommended for approval by the committee. Are there any questions, discussion?
Mr. Chair, if I may really quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the board voted on this project. It's a great project. Working with, talking about how we're going to celebrate this project. What you have before us The board again voted on substance on this project. What you have before you is a technical amendment.
All right, is there any more discussion? All right, we'll take the vote. Mr. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford?
Aye.
Ms. Brody?
Aye.
Mr. Elliott?
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Parker?
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it. Resolution 2 is approved. All right, on resolution, there is, resolution 3 is not used, so we'll be going to resolution 4. As I'd mentioned earlier, I'd like to tee this resolution up with a motion and a second, but then open the floor up for discussion or an explanation as to what's involved with this resolution. Resolution is resolution authorizing the chief executive officer or his designee of RRHA to negotiate and execute an agreement with TAG Associates, Inc. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
All right, so moved by,
Second.
okay, second from who? Mr. Johnson, okay. And the motion for approval was our chair. Okay, all right. All right, I'd like to open the floor up for questions and a discussion of this resolution.
Mr. Carter, I don't know that I understand. Is someone requesting? Or is this just a normal procedure?
Well, the procedure is that since this resolution was not discussed in committee.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
There should be at least some discussion of it to the board and perhaps staff or staff would probably be best suited. Ms. Hampton might be best suited for, pardon me? Oh, Ms. Colleen. Excuse me, Ms. Hampton. Okay. All right.
And thank you for clarifying because I didn't understand that. And since thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
This is actually a request for a cooperative agreement between the city of El Paso and RRHA to secure services with TAG. I know TAG currently has a contract with us, but it is expiring, and so we are seeking another avenue because El Paso has a more substantial scope of work that they're using that will cover the additional work that we are asking TAG to do for us.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, the additional work also involves the bunch of hours that they put in to prepare for the board retreat. They have an expert who've worked with other housing authorities that look at how do you create a strategic plan. So TAG has done a lot of work and they will be the facilitators at the retreat and all the documents that they produce. So to her point, they've done some additional work.
Will they work in conjunction together?
No, not El Paso. No, we're just using their contract for cooperative agreement with them.
Okay.
But TAG does provide assistance across our whole platform, real estate development, and all of that is stuff that they've been supporting us with for years. So
My colleagues, you have any questions as it pertains to this? Yes, Commissioner.
Oh, I have a question. Section 203, demolition work, implementation documents. What is this section or is section 203? What will they be doing this for our RRHA or will they be doing this for their private entity that they are seeking this for?
If I may, Mr. Chair?
Absolutely.
They only do, all the services articulated in the document, written, only provide, pertains to services they provide RHA. That's number one. Number two, if there's anything involving demolition is again around there. You'll see at the retreat. They provide substantive documents about looking at the repositioning of public housing assets. That means demolition. And what we must begin to think about much more deeply is that when any housing authority begin to, with a technical term, reposition the assets, that means demolition. You get less funding from HUD. Ergo, that's therefore the reason why we need to be focusing on unrestricted dollars to come into the organization. They will be giving their opinion, as lawyers say, opining on the impacts of the demolition of our public housing sites.
Guess I'm still confused, but anyway.
I think you're looking at the wrong resolution. There is a resolution in there about demolition at Creighton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see the right one. Okay, because I'm confused.
Yeah, but I think she's just looking at the wrong resolution.
she's looking at that.
Yeah, no, that's the wrong resolution.
Okay, which one is it? Because I don't see,
But on our agenda, it's going to be, it's still in order. Yeah, it goes from 2, our resolutions go from 2 to 4.
You watching?
So you're just one step ahead, that's all.
Okay. But that don't have nothing to do with this, the demolition. I want to make sure I'm voting on the right one.
So it's going to be right underneath the Churchill North.
He got it for me. He got it for me. So, what is this one seeking again? Because I got.
It's a continuation of their current services that they're offering, but also to capture the additional scope work that they've been providing. An example is, as I said, the expertise that they've been giving us with respect to the 5-year strategic strategy, looking at the housing authority, and as it relates more specifically to the repositioning and demolition of assets of our public housing buildings and what those financial impacts will be on the housing
I'll
authority.
be just doing more of the giving us a breakdown of what you all are asking, and they're gonna make sure that it's okay.
No, again, it's a continuation of their current services, but the scope, as Colleen said, captures additional services that they've been offering. As an example, as I said, the work that they've been doing, advising senior staff and will be the board on the 5-year strategic plan and the impacts of demolishing public housing authorities and the financial impacts on our organization.
Okay, so but they won't be the ones really demolishing.
No, ma'am.
They would
No,
just
ma'am.
be only researching the ability to do that.
They'll be providing the
Okay.
analysis of the research
Yeah.
that they've done. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I just want to make sure I got a good
Yes, ma'am.
understanding of what I'm voting for.
Yes,
Do any of the other commissioners have a question or comment?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is, I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Is resolution 2026-04, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 04.
Yes, it is. 04.
Can you, I don't know if I understand why, what does this have to do with the Housing Authority of El Paso? Why are, if we're trying to, I guess, codify services that have been being provided that are not currently within the scope, why aren't we just amending or adding an addendum to the existing contract? I'm confused why we're coordinating through the El Paso Housing Authority.
The current contract that we are doing the intergovernmental cooperation agreement with does not have all of the services that we are looking for TAG to supply us now. And so we can't add to a scope of an existing contract that's between another housing agency and TAG. So we had to go with another agency that included that scope so that, and do the cooperative purchasing with them so that we could add that scope to our needs, to allow us to, to use them for our needs. Yeah, it's a piggyback function, cooperative agreement. It's something that, HUD allows us to do.
Okay, I'm not understanding why. How did we select El Paso?
Because they had the scope Their solicitation and contract included the scope of services that we were looking for TAG to supply us. And because that scope is in their contract and not in the contract that we're currently using, it's expanding it for us. And that's why we're using El Paso's contract. El Paso will not have anything to do with this contract except for allowing us to have a cooperative agreement with them to use TAG.
Okay. And why, and just procedurally, why didn't this go through a committee process?
Commissioner Elliott, Admin and Finance yesterday did not have a quorum to actually consider the resolution.
Okay.
Any other question?
I'm not sure I know or understand enough about what exactly this entails and what's going on, but I appreciate everybody providing their comments.
And last, Mr. Chair, if I can say, it's a piggyback exactly under the same existing contract we have. We're using another tool, vehicle to piggyback. That's what it is.
And it shortens our procurement time. So especially since we're already moving through all these development projects with these company or with TAG, we needed to adjust the scope of that contract so that they could provide those services for us. So our needs have grown and we've had to find another avenue in order to increase that scope. And we do what we call piggyback in procurement world, because it lessens our time for solicitation. We're already using a contract that's already existing out there, and that is something that is allowed under Chapter 14 of the HUD procurement rules.
Exactly.
And, so that's why we do it.
Didn't have a quorum. Because we need, Commissioner Prischra asked, why didn't it come to a committee? And I would love for our commissioners to be in attendance for each one of our committees, so that we can have these things discussed. I don't know who's, not off the top of my head, but we did not have a quorum. And it would have been fully vetted there and discussed. That it's.
Yep. Mr. Chair, if I meant, the attendance issues you say is important. This is typical for this housing authority, even in your committee, Mr. Pitchford, when you're chair, we would, when we did have a quorum, we put it up to the full board. This is customary for this board.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't starting a pattern of, coming in to our board meeting. We look at the documents that we have and then something else comes in there, transparent. I just wanted to make sure that when I vote, I know what I'm voting on.
Yes, ma'am.
I got the history of it,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. All of that is
me,
understandable.
This should be, when we come here, everything should have been hashed out so we can smoothly go through the agenda. That's all, because it seems like we're going back to a way we used to be a long time ago.
No, we're not doing that. It's a direct correlation to it, commissioners attending their committee meetings. Had we attended the committee meeting, this would have been discussed. We're not going backwards. I assure you that. This is a matter of accountability, to include the chairperson. And we all need to be in attendance because we have big business to deal with. No, it's not a.
You were on the committee. That's right. You were there and we had the discussion.
But we
Didn't
need,
have a quorum.
Okay.
we need everybody there.
No, I'm saying, no.
That's not, I'm not that guy. I don't, if I have something to say to you, I'm gonna say it directly to you. I don't talk around you. And so, but here, this is a message for us as colleagues. We need to be accountable. And there's a lot of business that's taking place. Our pace is going to pick up, and we're going to make certain that everyone is accountable, staff, board members, and we've got work to do.
Right. I truly agree, because when I was chair half an hour, then we didn't have a quorum for about maybe 6 months. So
Yes, ma'am.
I truly understand where you're coming from. But in that note, I just wanted to make sure that we are not, every time we come to a meeting, and we already looked at our agenda, and it's been I understand this didn't go because we didn't have a quorum, and we're bringing it to the full board to go along with the apostle. Yeah, I got it now, and I'm ready to, vote on it if we are going to vote. But I just want to be clear of what I vote on.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question.
Yes,
One
sir.
question only.
Yes, sir.
Colleen, is the city of El Paso, do they have a state contract?
They are a housing authority.
Or they are a housing
Yeah, they're
authority?
a housing authority.
Okay,
Yeah, it's the
so
city of
we
El
can't
Paso
jock
Housing.
off of it like in that manner.
Actually, we can piggyback off of any contract.
Right.
Government
That allows
contract
us
that's
to
been
do it.
competitively solicited,
Okay.
we can piggyback off
Thank
of.
you so much.
Yep. Yeah, it saves us administratively on costs and all that as far as, the procurement, because sometimes procurement timelines. Exactly.
Good
It's there
stuff.
for our
Good
use.
stuff. Mr. Carter.
All right. Ready for a vote? Mr. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford,
Aye.
Ms. Brody. Brody, Mr. Elliott.
I'm going to abstain. I just admittedly I don't understand or know enough about this, and if time is not of the essence, I would recommend it just go through the normal committee process and we revisit it once it's been fully vetted. So I'm going to abstain.
Okay. All right. Mr. Hardeman,
Abstain.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Parker.
Aye.
All right. The ayes have it. Resolution is approved. Right.
And then this is the
All right.
last
Now we have resolution number 5. Resolution number 5 as well requires a discussion with staff to discuss the terms of what's being approved. All right, I'd like to tee it up a motion for approval. It's resolution authorizing Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority to enter into an amendment to the master development agreement with Community Builders, Inc. regarding demolition activities for Phase 2 and 3 at Creighton Court and authorizing the CEO or his designee to execute and deliver such amendment. May I have a motion for approval?
So be it.
Okay. We have second.
Second.
Okay. All right. The motion was approved by Mr. Jackson, seconded by Mr. Parker. All right. I'd like to open up the floor. Who is the individual that can speak to this resolution? All right, Ms. Hampton. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Attorney Carter. Thank you, Attorney Carter. This resolution involves Creighton Court, our current project. Given the HUD requirement that all parties be relocated by September 30th, we want to also, because HUD will not be giving us any additional subsidy for this site, so we are trying to get a head start on the demolition activities. We have combined demolition phase 2 and demolition phase 3. We've combined those demolition activities or phases all into a phase 3, a final phase, and we are using the same format as we used with demolition phase 1. And so that's what this resolution involves. We have 16 current vacant buildings. And then we have done a map and we will continue to go down that where we have households with one person, buildings that have 2 households or 3 households, and we do each of those. So we're trying to start now so that the relocation and the demolition can coincide. And when we get to September 30th, we will not have any further carrying costs for that site. It also helps to mitigate any safety issues because we would have to board these buildings up. and that's expensive. Squatters get in. So we're trying to mitigate that particular occurrence.
And did I understand you to say that relocations are aligning with this requested demolition schedule?
Yes, sir.
Those
That is
that
what
apply
we're
anyway.
attempting, right. We're attempting to do that. Yes, sir.
Are you somewhat confident that we'll be able to successfully relocate these people if the board approves this resolution tonight for the combined demolition?
We are giving it our very best, as you say, working hard, very hard with J&G, our relocation vendor, to move all families, all households by September 30th.
You bring up another question that I'll have a conversation with you about in regards to J&G, how things are progressing. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Call to questions.
I just had a question on phase
Yes,
2
ma'am.
and phase 3 of Creighton. When you all were creating the plan for this, are the residents aware of this? Are they aware of that, what you're doing, the phase 2 and the phase 3, all of a sudden, I mean, were these residents that are gonna be impacted by this, were they a part of the ongoing phase 1, 2, and now this is 3? Like they were already a part of it, and now we're just down to getting to them?
Okay, the first phase was done and is completed. That was completed before my tenure began. We moved 192 households with approval from HUD. They also gave approval for phase 2 and phase 3 demolition in that section 18 subsequent application we submitted. The residents were notified again at an October meeting that we had, October 30th, when we were on site at Creighton Court. We continue to have ongoing meetings. There was a meeting scheduled for January 27th in light of the bad weather. We don't know what the conditions will be immediately after Monday, so we're going to reschedule that meeting. But we have every other month or every month, we try to have a resident meeting with the tenants that are left on site because many have moved off. We have relocated, so it's just those that remain on site. And those that are remaining, I think we put that in our narrative report to you. There are about 80 some odd households now, started out at 105. But we are working with them based on their preferences and what and tenant protection vouchers. So we
Okay.
continue to update the residents as
Okay,
we
and
go.
their Bill of Rights will cover these people too?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I think that's
Mr. Chair, if I
enough
may,
question.
Yes, sir.
let me answer the question more emphatically. We have been we held in 2024 many community meetings with the residents about that move. In fact, our chair was at one of those meetings, robust discussion. We've had also President Newbell, that's in her councilman district. She had been in some of the meetings as well. So yes, emphatically, yes. We've been meeting multiple times with the residents about the Bill of Rights, and they said it was covered. And yes, we're meeting with those residents.
Okay, I'm ready to vote. If everybody else.
Any of my colleagues have any further questions?
All right. Barring none, let's move forward. Mr. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford,
Aye.
Ms. Brody. Ms. Brody. Mr. Elliott,
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Parker.
Aye.
All right, let me go back. Ms. Brody? She's still on? Okay, all right. All right, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Resolution 5 is approved. All right, we have one more ratification, or one ratification here. This deals with the RDC. It's a ratification by the authority to approve the amendment to the governing documents of RDC. There was a robust discussion earlier about this, by the CEO. And in light of that, let's just move forward for approval. I'd like a motion for approval.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Parker, seconded by Ms. Pitchford. Okay. All right. Call the question. Any discussion? Barring none. Mr. Jackson,
Aye.
Mr. Parker,
Aye.
Ms. Brody, okay. Mr. Elliott,
Aye.
Mr. Hardeman,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Ms. Pitchford.
Aye.
Okay. All right, the ayes have it. The resolution for RDC has been ratified. Thank you.
All right. All right. Commissioner Parker, Vice Chair, sir. Unless there are any other questions from any of our colleagues, would you take us out, sir?
Yes, be glad to, Mr. Chair. You know, as we started the meeting today, the chairman spoke about this being a historical time, and indeed it is. And he also mentioned about the efforts made by everybody and how they are certainly appreciated. And we serve people, and we want to interact with them also. Want to make sure that we interact with people and not just stay afar from them, but get involved. And our CEO had mentioned also that about the feedback from the team, and it's always better to get feedback and how he appreciates the team. So we really have from the top clear direction as to what we want to do. I know that the citizens of the communities, there are three things that they want from us. They require of us that we have hard leaders that work hard for them. Number two, they want us to respect their families. And number three, they don't want us to waste time fighting over stuff that does not help them in any way. And we want to stick with that. I just say to the staff and to the management and to the commissioners, I pray that we all continue to have the same mindset of positivity, hope, and faith as we move forward in 2026 to help low-income families into safe, affordable housing. Thank you very much.